text with more information from iHeart-Radio. Dial pound 250, keyword lottery.
Really? Let me see.
Okay. Slow down.
You're right, Jack.
Save one for me. Plus tax. Limited time only. Price and participation may vary.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Spilled your milkshake? Quick, the quicker picker upper. Bounty picks up spills quicker. And each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading Ordinary brand. So you can get back to your milkshake.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Bounty, the quicker picker upper.
We're ready for a winter pick-me-up with an extra 20% off when you use your coupon or Macy's card. Or shop incredible specials like 30 to 40% off designer handbags and 65% off coats to finish the season in style for him and for her. And get 1,400 thread count sheets for just $39.99. Plus, Macy's Star Rewards members earn on every purchase except gift cards, services, and fees. See Macy's.com/Star Rewards. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Flex the Love, Saturday, May 7th, Stuck in Arena. Also starring Drew Hill. Dwight Murphy presents Stockton Music Jam. With special guest John B. Plus Baby Bash. With Frankie J. And John L. Jones. Plus 112. Also added Changing Faces. The Stuckin' Music Jam. Saturday, May 7th. Tickets. Celebrations. And best of all, new and used Toyotas are arriving daily at Folsom Lake Toyota during the President's Day sales event. Get a head start on spring and summer adventure in your new or quality used Toyota car, truck, or hybrid during the President's Day sales event going on now at Folsom Lake Toyota, Highway 50 Folsom X, and online at FolsomLakeToyota.com. Keeping our commitment to you for over 30 years in the Folsom Auto. Hurry, President's Day sales event ends February 20. See Folsom Lake Toyota for details.
Look, watching your diet, hitting the gym, avoiding stress. But a good night's rest helps boost your overall health and wellness. And it couldn't be easier. The Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed effortlessly adjusts and responds to both of you. The result? You wake up ready for anything. Proven quality sleep is life-changing sleep. Don't miss our President's Day weekend special. Save 50% on the Sleep Number 360 Limited Edition Smart Bed, plus free premium delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com.
Bacon burgers, Grandma's original meatloaf, 14 different flavors of marinated chicken breast, but you found a new favorite. Our boneless, skinless chicken thighs cut up and marinated with a fajita seasoning.
Well, let me tell you something, Dave. They are awesome on chicken fajitas, chicken enchiladas, and chicken tacos.
We'll try this and others of our specialty products at Roseville Meats, 916-782-2705, where your modern-day old-fashioned meat market at 700 Atlantic Street in Roseville. Check out our website at RosevilleMeats.com and like us on Facebook.
Roseville Meat Company, fire up the grill. Modern-day old-fashioned meat market.
Fire up
I get it. Slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it. Slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association. In partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
We're locking in great President's Day deals on any custom order. Get 0% financing for 60 months on some of our most popular Ford vehicles, like Escape, Edge, Explorer, and Expedition, Ford Ranger, and Ford F-150. That's 0% financing for 60 months. The President's Day Sell-a-thon is on. Order your new Ford. Lock in a great deal. Visit buyfordnow.com, then see your California Ford dealer today. Not all buyers will qualify for Ford credit financing. 0% APR financing for 60 months at $1,667 per month for $1,000 finance regardless of down payment. Valid on 2021 model year EcoSport, Escape Gas, Edge, Explorer, Expedition, Ranger, and F-150, and the 2022 model year Ford Explorer. Residency restrictions apply. For all offers, take new retail delivery from an authorized Ford dealer stock by 2/28/2022. See dealer for qualifications and complete details.
Visit your neighborhood grocery outlet and you'll find all the ingredients to cook a complete, healthy meal. We have fresh meat, produce, and size, all at savings of up to 40 to 70% versus traditional grocery stores. So stop by your local grocery outlet today and enjoy a one-stop shopping experience, all within your budget. Full plate, full wallet. You can't lose.
Your break for Bacon Bite. Ah, yes, the open road. Just you and your hunger. And if you listen carefully, you can hear what it's craving. Bacon, extra bacon, 4 strips of crispy bacon stacked on a charbroiled beef patty with melty cheese. Satisfy your bacon craving with the Bacon Beast Burger or the Bacon Beast Burrito with melty cheese for breakfast. Try the new Bacon Beast menu from Carl's Jr. Feed your happy. Available for limited time at participating Carl's Jr. restaurants. Bacon Beast Burrito available during regular breakfast hours.
Where you can save just by being you. DriveWise in the Allstate mobile app gives you personalized driving feedback. And by adding it to your policy, you can save for driving safe just by being yourself. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Not available in every state. Savings based on DriveWise and other safe driving discounts. Savings vary. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Roasted nuts make it perfectly salty. Get 2 great tastes in one delicious bar. Enjoy a Nature Valley sweet and salty nut bar today.
With just one spray of Microban 24, your hard surfaces are sanitized for up to 24 hours. Touch after touch after touch.
So 6 hours from now?
Still sanitized.
12 hours?
Yep.
18 hours.
We're really doing this.
24 hours.
When used as directed, one spray of Microban keeps killing 99.9% of bacteria touch after touch for, up to 24 hours.
Wow.
Microban 24. The sanitizer 4 out of 5 doctors would use in their own homes. So why aren't you?
You'll find holiday savings on furniture, mattresses, appliances, electronics, and flooring. Hurry in and take advantage of holiday savings on recliners, mattresses, sofas, and sectionals. You'll also save on dining and bedroom sets, appliances, TVs, and electronics. And you can pay 0 down and 0 interest for 18 months. Plus, a digital crockpot is just $10 with purchase of $3.99 or more. If you've waited to buy anything for your home, now is the time. Don't miss the President's Day sale at RC Willey.
This is the way. Now the story continues in the book of Boba Fett. I have a few scores to settle. I might be able to help with that. 1 galaxy, 2 legendary bounty hunters. I intend to rule with respect. Wherever I go, he goes. Don't miss a single reveal. They'll never see it coming. The Mandalorian Seasons 1 and 2 and the book of Boba Fett. Every episode now streaming only on Disney+.
You want Michaela Schifrin fast. You want Eat My Powder blink and you'll miss it. I ski faster than you drive fast. You want Wi-Fi speeds faster than a gig. Power all your devices and watch every single wow-worthy moment fast. You want gig speed internet from Xfinity.
Watch Team USA with Wi-Fi speeds faster than a gig. Or get started with Xfinity 50 megabit per second internet for $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. This offer ends March 31st. So go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas.
So you can bring your favorite radio station, just like this one, and thousands of others with you everywhere you go, right on your phone. Along with tons of specialty curated playlists to fit any mood or any activity, from chilling out to working out. And podcasts, literally hundreds of thousands of them. True crime thrillers, the latest headline news, sports. You'll find plenty of podcasts that are perfect for you. Start listening free now when you download the iHeart-Radio app. Discover music, radio, and podcasts you'll love.
Road trips, the wind in my ears,
Good dog.
fridge in my mouth, and peace of mind knowing we went to Les Schwab for our tires, brakes, and alignment. If we had gone to one of those cheap tire stores that don't offer those services, I'd be a doggone wreck. Like Les Schwab, my family's safety is my first priority. Well, that and treats, obviously.
Swing by or book online. Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952.
Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Charlton of Big C Sports, coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to people who love sports. That includes the Olympics. It's all very level work. What a beautiful day coming up on this beautiful hot. I feel like it's summertime in California, but I know it's California winter, so we gotta have some California love. What a beautiful day. February the 18th, 2020. Oh my God, 2022 already. I think I stepped in. Welcome to the show. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade. There's seven in the world. You go by a test drive, you'll just tell them Charlton of Big C Sports Center, as well as a fleet of Cadillac cars, also all around the universe. You can follow Big C Sports on 23 podcast applications. Really do appreciate that. It's just growing and growing and growing. Like, you can find us on Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker, Apple Podcasts. You can also find Big C Sports more and more throughout the universe. Give us some praise. Come on, y'all. I know it's Happy Friday. You can find it on iHeart-Radio, Castbox, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, and Pod Chaser. Give me some praise. It's hard to count to 10. I might start doing it counting to 5 at a time. All fair and Leavenworth. Try sometimes. Don't just make fun of me. All fair and Leavenworth. And you can also follow Big C Sports on Geo Saban Podcast out of London, England, Podtail, YouTube, Hubhopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line Podcast, Repod Podcast. You can find us on Luminary Podcast. That's a great one, isn't it? Luminary Podcast. Listen to those podcast-wise, Podbay, Verbal Podcast, and allfeeds.ai. Give that some praise for artificial intelligence. Pretty soon, all the robots will take over. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. One thing about Big C Sports Podcast, you get it fresh every day. I don't loop shows. You only get one shot. The great Eminem from Super Bowl celebration for Super Bowl 56. You only get one shot with Big C Sports Podcast. Some shows, they'll do an hour show and they'll loop it 3 or 4 times throughout the day. You think, didn't I just hear that? It's like Groundhog Day for some sports shows. They just keep looping those shows. All the prayer and Leavenworth. I'm telling you, I may have had too much Big C coffee today. I feel like I'm really jazzed up. You can also follow Big C Sports streaming all over the universe. 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. Give that some praise. Come on, y'all, give it some praise, praise, praise. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Clap your hands. Happy Friday. All square and love and war. At the same time, I love paying homage to my family legacy. I really do appreciate it. I even heard some other people doing the same thing. If you know anyone in your family, in your lineage that made life possible for you and poured good love into your spirit, mind, body, and soul, I love doing that. My family legacy on my mother's side, my great-grandmother called her a mama. She was the matriarch of the family, very smart, intelligent woman. Made sure that everybody did whatever we could to keep the family strong. Had vegetables, grew our own garden, even got some livestock, all fair in love and war. At the same time, on my great-grandfather called him Pop, the patriarch of the family on my mother's side, former Negro League baseball player, well connected in the church, also known by some of his church buddies as making the best moonshine in the universe. If for saying, boys, get out of that barn. Get out of that barn! You don't want life to distract you? Had all kind of contraptions set up so people could go out and get it shine. But we figured out, we just follow the footsteps. I really do appreciate that. And then my grandmother, Muddia, a seer, just a very smart, intelligent woman, did everything to keep the family strong. Could oftentimes look at a person and tell you about their past and their future. Really do appreciate how prescient she was. Really do appreciate that. My grandfather, Hezekiah, another wonderful gentleman. Really do appreciate everything that's poured into my life. Also, I want to say to the best mother in the history of the universe, my beautiful mother started a Head Start program, a food program, and helped win the Little League Championship of the universe. Give mama some praise. Come on. Little League Start Championship, also Head Start and a food program, making sure that no kid went to bed hungry. And then the Bush administration stole it, said no child left behind. But mama already took care of that, saying always rise and shine, no matter what's going on in life, rise and shine. And then on my father's side of the family, the patriarch, Albert Curry, former pastor, had 2 churches in Oakland, California, built a 3rd one in Central California, also had 2 gas stations, owned 2 gas stations in Oakland, California. Very smart, industrious, hardworking man. Really do appreciate him. And then my grandmother, Alberta Curry, working hand in hand with my grandfather to run the churches in Oakland, also helped build the church in Central California, as well as running the 2 service stations in Oakland, California. Really do appreciate that. I remember one day she told me, she said, there's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak. And she touched me on the forehead. And I remember I was 8 years old in Oakland, California. Really do appreciate that. My father, former retired Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, making sure planes can fly high so we could all stay safe at night. Always saying develop your mind to his highest extent. And then my beautiful brother Todd, with his bombastic voice, sometimes sound like thunder and lightning when Todd would speak. Again, I keep saying our favorite movie was Pulp Fiction. It really was Scarface, but we thought Scarface was too violent. So Pulp Fiction was runner-up. It's like when Ben Rames told Bruce Willis, your butt goes down in the 4th round. That stinking sensation you're feeling, that's pride flupping with you. Flup pride. Flup pride. Really do appreciate that. All the great things always go forward. And then my beautiful daughter, Daisy. Daisy's the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. Really do appreciate Daisy. She actually helped me set up my first radio interview at Salem Media back in 2015, and also would help me set up when coaches that come to the West Coast to work with Big C Sports for merchandising and also some of the university paraphernalia that they were dealing with. Really do appreciate that. My handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. I want to make sure let's go back to Daisy. Graduated with honors, 2 degrees in 3.5 years. That's amazing. Really do appreciate her hard work. And then my very handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. Just a smart kid, hardworking, industrious, has a great head on his shoulder. As I always tell Malcolm, Wakanda forever. Remember the movie Black Panther? And also Lion King, never let anyone get between you and your family. Really do appreciate Malcolm always sending me stuff on NBA stats, knows the NBA inside and out. I know he's looking forward to the 75th All-Star game in Cleveland. This is for you. Really do appreciate that. And then Big C, with all of his knowledge in the past, you gotta believe, you gotta believe, you gotta believe. Give everybody some praise. I said, give everybody a praise, praise, praise. Really do appreciate the growth of Big C Sports Podcast. Keep growing by leaps and bounds. Keep growing by leaps and bounds. All fair and love and war. You know, some of the things that I love about the show, I really learned from my great-grandfather. And I'm telling you, I know you hear in boxing promotions, but oftentimes, this is Black History Month. My grandfather, or my great-grandfather, called him Pop. Oftentimes, whenever he got together with his friends in the barn, I would hear, let's get ready to rumble! That's why I say, welcome to the show. ESPY nominated Big C Sports Podcast. As I tell you, no scripts, no 3-way teleprompters, no producer in my ear. I do the show with my higher self and God. I always honor God. I walk by faith and not by sight. And I think and I may be wrong about this, but you can Google it. I think I'm the only sports show in the universe that does not loop shows. Sometimes you listen to broadcasters, whether it's podcast or radio, and you can hear the same 1-hour show. They'll loop it 3 or 4 times. You might think, didn't I just hear this a while ago? Well, I don't do that. My show is fresh. You only get 1 shot every day, like the great Eminem. It only comes out of the oven once a day. And some people say, thank God for that. Give one a day for praise. You ever want to do something once a day? Just once. You only get 1 slice a cake. It's not rehab. And I really do appreciate that. But I always produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast the shows. The sound effects are done by what's provided by the agency. Everyone could use more laughter and joy in life. We all need some joy in life. They're opening up concerts all over California. And Earth, Wind, and Fire is going to be at one over in Northern California. Really do appreciate that. I might even go to it. And then the commercials are done. The stats provided. The storytelling. And you're going to hear in the NBA All-Star Game, Steph Curry for 3! I'm telling you, it's a good lineup. The 75th NBA All-Star Game in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio. Or Cleveland! In beautiful Cleveland, Ohio. Then I upload the show. Goes out to 23 podcast applications. And then 4 TV platforms. I never missed a show since creating Big C Sports with a group of people back in September the 12th, 2015. And then I think, as I say, I may be wrong about it, but I think I'm the only sports show in the universe that honors God on every show. I know some people don't believe in God. They're atheists, and that's fine too. But one of the greatest things that I've learned growing up is the book of Genesis. I mean, it's amazing because there was no Big C Sports when I grew up. But I was always playing record players. I was like a DJ. I would always have the music turned up so loud. But it's something I just had an epiphany right now. In the book of Genesis, chapter 13, verse 15, it says, "For all the land that thou seest will I give you, and thy seed forever." In the book of James, chapter 4, verse 2, said, "You have not because you ask not." If you want something, just ask. You gotta ask, and give asking some praise. I remember you gotta believe in everything you want to do. I was talking to someone in the sports industry that I'm gonna be doing some work with in the summertime, and we were just talking about how things that we thought about when we were young boys, that we're doing them now. I think that's amazing. And so I love also just paying homage to speaking things that be not as though they were. I also want to thank for Comcast. They actually made a commercial for Big C Sports, and it goes something like this. I don't know if I can do it as well as they do. Yeah, it's time for Big C Sports. Yeah. Okay, they do all the sound effects, but they did the commercial for Big C Sports. So I really want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. In Genesis, God said, "Let there be light." Isn't that something? It's in Genesis 1:3. God said, "Let there be light." And it's just like all the things that people have spoken into existence. You only need, I'm not preaching, but sometimes I grew up in the house, so sometimes I feel like I'm preaching. But I'm preaching to my spirit, anybody is listening. But you got to speak things into existence. And don't wait for someone to approve of what you're doing unless they already have what you're going after. Too many times we seek the approval of people that don't even have what we have. That's dumb. That's like looking at a map, trying to get somewhere. And I was talking to a family member one time, and I said, make sure you use this map because on the way to where you're going, you don't want to get lost. And he said, well, I'm just going to use GPS. And I said, well, you don't know if you can trust that stuff. But at the same time, there are things that are laid out for us to succeed with, and I do appreciate that. So I'm just very happy about the opportunities with Big C Sports. I'm going to touch on it because going into my certification for a sports marketing agency, you can look in Forbes magazine over the last decade. You'll see the top sports agents that are in there. And in 2021, the top sports agents created commissions totaling over $41.2 billion with a B. And Big C Sports is being, I won't say recruited, but invited into that industry. And I just really appreciate all of the things that are coming. Black men did it. There's so many opportunities that people have, especially we talk about Black History Month. Every single day is Black History Month for African Americans. I've asked everyone, Google the 1619 Project. No matter what color you are, Google it and see about the opportunities that are present. And one of the top sports agents in 2021 his firm brought in over $160 million in commissions. That's a lot, and that's 1 year. That's amazing. More black men are sports marketing agents than there are head coaches in the NFL. And the NFL is a sport that everybody gravitates to because it really is an amazing sport. But would you believe there's more black men that for the 2021 NFL draft, in the top 10 picks, I believe 5 of them were represented by black men. Isn't that something? That's more than coaches in the NFL. That's a clue. As my partner told me, get into this business, Charlton, because it's not about discrimination. Most of the athletes we're going to sign look just like us. So you can't say, well, racism's stopping us. Oh, that good old boy network is stopping us. There's a lot of times when people just got to open their eyes and realize, even our coaches that are begging teams for an interview so they can get paid $3 million. And you have some black sports agents that brought in over $46 million in commissions last year. Isn't that something? It's amazing. So I just want to keep my mind focused on the opportunities because the land that thou seest will I give you, Really do appreciate that. I also want to say thank you to the California Lottery and for the Powerball, the Mega Millions, Super Lotto, and Fantasy 5. In fact, I got to keep saying it louder and clear. I'm going to win that lottery. In fact, I feel like I've already won it. All fair and level war. And everybody just keep in mind that when you are out there betting, you don't want to bet more than you can afford to lose. I know there's a lot of people that go out and bet everything they have, and sometimes they get hurt. Steve Mariucci, former 49ers football coach, been part of the NFL for many, many moons, now part of the NFL Network, did a PSA around Super Bowl and all the playoffs, mentioned that if you have any issues with gambling, or if you know someone who does, like they bet the last dollar for milk for a lottery, okay, but call 800-GAMBLER if you need help. 800-GAMBLER. We know the Supreme Court, they gamble all the time. Still trying to get a voting rights bill passed. They passed the gambling legislation easily. In 2018, they ruled Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act is unconstitutional, changing the future of sports betting in the United States. And now people can bet on anything. It's something else. But really, the Supreme Court, they overturned a decision on the New Jersey gambling case in which you can now bet on sports. You can do it. But that doesn't mean you should. I'm not telling anybody what to do, but sometimes when you need help, you got to reach out and get help. That's 800-GAMBLER. Every United States now, think about it, every U.S. state available to offer sports betting. Professional sports is amazing, and owners are among the big winners. Maybe that's why the Miami Dolphins owner was telling Brian Flores, if you throw games, I'll pay you more money. It's called NC, had the inside job. I think there was a movie with Clive Owens back in the day called Inside Man. They were robbing banks, and they were inside the walls of the banks. How'd they get in? They were inside. So maybe that's why Brian Flores got fired, because he wouldn't break the law. Isn't that something? Black History Month, black man gets fired for not breaking the law. Isn't that something? But when you think about it, all the stuff that's out there, they call it legalized betting. It is legal. But it's also legal to lose everything you got. You got to keep about it. I mean, there are so many people who are just get hooked on it. It's like a drug. I remember back in the day, they had Jimmy the Greek Snyder, and he was telling the good old boys what he knew coming out of Las Vegas, how they were fixing, well, I won't say fixing games, but I'll say allegedly, there were things that just went on that makes you go, if that makes sense for you. But you got to just be careful if you're out there. You don't want to bite off more than you can chew, if that makes sense to you. But I'm not telling anybody what to do. I just want to make sure people have access to help. Also, I'm very honored to do this every year for the last 3 years. The Veterans Crisis Hotline, they really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. And they don't speak nearly as fast as I do based on what I understand. But they can get you help. If you need help, if you know any veteran going through issues, pick up the phone, call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net, and give our veterans some praise. You got to give them praise. They do everything to help keep this country safe. And our first responders help out when they fall through the cracks also. All fair and level war. I want to say finally thank you to Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol, but it's 100% honest game. Sports fans, if you're watching the big game, you want to eat the Big C burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with all this exotic meat. And also at the same time, if you do what I do, but I got to give a PSA also. Drink the Big C coffee. It only comes in one size, extra large. The best part of waking up is Big C in your cup. But don't drink too much of it. I think I've had too much of it lately, and it makes me talk fast. You already talk fast. But the best part of waking up is Big C in your cup. It's all fair. In leather world only comes in one size, extra large. You know, Jim Harbaugh got his contract extended today also because the University of Michigan decided to keep him on the staff. And I think he signed a 5-year deal. He'll most likely get out of it somehow, some way. But I'm going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When I come back, I'm going to talk more about what's going on in the world of the NBA basketball, the All-Star game coming up from Cleveland. This is for you. In the words of former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger and the Terminator. I'll be back. All right, we're back from the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 23 podcast applications all over the universe and 4 TV streaming platforms. Really do appreciate that. Coming up on the 75th anniversary of the NBA All-Star Game. Also, it correlates with Black History Month, but the 2022 NBA All-Star Game out of beautiful Cleveland, Ohio, and there's so much going into this, the 75th year NBA All-Star Weekend. It's right here, and we're just dealing with COVID and all the other issues over the last 3 years. But the game has several events. Obviously, I like the three-point shootout contest, also the slam dunk contest. I still think my favorite slam dunk was the one where Vince Carter was hanging on the rim in Oakland. I know a lot of people like Michael Jordan when he was guiding through the lane and all that jazz, but everyone has their own style of what they like the most. But I really like the All-Star Game. It's about the rising stars and the challenge, and it's undergone some changes over the years, and hopefully people understand it's about entertainment this weekend. It's not about really trying to play all out. It's for entertainment purposes. You can look at all the different things that people do and realizing that if you think about how we say, Cleveland, this is for you. LeBron James, think about this. He's been around for such a long time. LeBron James 2 years ago played 18 minutes in the All-Star Game, scored 23 points, and took 20 shots. Last year, he played just 13 minutes, scoring just 4 points on 7 shots. It makes sense that the 37-year-old LeBron James would kind of take it easy a little bit in Sunday's game, allowing the next generation of stars to take over. I still remember when Michael Jordan had a game and Kobe Bryant, and they guarded each other. That, to me, was one of those seminal moments in the NBA. And now you're going to see some of the newer young players, their rising and shining is amazing. But LeBron James at the same time is having his highest scoring season since the 2010 season. It's amazing. He's very dominant as an offensive and defensive player. If it weren't for the Los Angeles Lakers not playing well right now, he'd surely be at the talk of maybe NBA MVP again. This might take the opportunity for people to see that he's still among the best players in the game. And there's no doubt he is. Anthony Davis suffering that injury. He's going to be out about 4 weeks now. But he's had some injuries himself, LeBron James. But when you think about how greatness is, I still recall seeing Dr. J playing games, Magic Johnson playing games. And now to have a chance to see LeBron, seeing Kobe, seeing Shaq, seeing some of the great players, it's just amazing that we can see the athleticism of athletes in front of our eyes. And a lot of these guys are doing a lot more off the court, not just playing to dunk the basketball and shoot a three-point play. But when you think about some of the big men, going way back to 2004, to find the last 3 players standing about 6'11" or taller and finish in the top 3 of the NBA MVP voting, that was the great Kevin Garnett. Anything's possible! If you remember that, let me get my producer. When the Boston Celtics had won an NBA championship, Garnett said, "Anything's possible!" I remember that. Anything is possible. And then you had Tim Duncan, who also had his way of entertaining the crowd. And Tim Duncan, after he won his championship, he would just say, "Thank you." Oh, fair level war. A gentleman, kind of a quiet man at the same time, but just always playing with class, but play it hard from start to finish. And then, of course, you have there's so many great players, Jermaine O'Neal, but many people, when you realize it, some of the top voters in MVP for this year, I look at a player, I'm going to call King Giannis. King Giannis Antetokounmpo. He was the NBA Finals MVP. He led the comeback on a bad knee, you could say maybe a sore knee, to have the Milwaukee Bucks come back and knock off the Phoenix Suns after the Suns had taken a 2-game-to-none lead. It was King Giannis Antetokounmpo who, my opinion, is looking at maybe the MVP again this year. I mean, not just in the finals, but maybe throughout the regular season. I think it's going to take a lot to knock them off. They're probably better now than they were last year when they won. But I know there's a lot of people that say defending MVP, Nikola Jokic, the Joker. I think he turned 27 years old today, so happy birthday if my math is right on that. So he's also going to be in the thick of things, but he's not must-see TV. He's a good fundamentals, and he's a good player. No one can doubt that. But I don't think people plan to put down the Big C burger when he comes up to the line or has the ball in his hands. The way Giannis Antetokounmpo going down the lane like a runaway freight train and slam dunking the basketball with two hands doing that Euro step. Everybody has their own flavor of Kool-Aid. Even back in the days, I enjoyed watching the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar when he would do the sky hook. It was must-see TV. No one could stop it. So you look at some of the players now, the great Joel Embiid. He's playing like he's in NBA All-Star form. He's amazing. But is he as good as Giannis? I mean, they did their thing just a couple days ago. So these guys can score. I think Giannis is more of an inside-outside game. Embiid can dominate inside the paint. I love when I see mano and mano, the big guys go up against the big guys. Kind of like a mixture of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Wilt Chamberlain when you look at the frame of King Giannis Antetokounmpo. And then also when I look at the great Joel Embiid, just a big, physical, strong man that can bounce the ball inside the paint and he's almost unstoppable. I love seeing him put his head down and get to the basket. But when you think about it, this NBA game, because so many people love the three, and I'm part of it too, it's not my fault, but I do get excited when I see Steph Curry for three. We love seeing that. Jesus Shuttlesworth, Ray Allen for three. Back in the day, the movie, he got game. We love seeing players shoot the three. There's nothing quite like it in my opinion. I think I said quathing. That's a new word. Hey, I'm going to introduce Ebonics to the Big C Sports Podcast. There's quathing like it. There's quathing quite like it. Some people understand what I mean. But I love the NBA and what they're doing with the All-Star game. When I think about the great DeMar DeRozan, an All-Star starter, no matter which NBA team you pull for, you look at the great DeMar DeRozan, how he's been traveling across country lines to find work. And he worked himself into an All-Star into Toronto, and then also had some multiple disappointments in playoff appearances. But he's got game. He's been doing it. He's trying to get the Big C burger. He knows it's a tasty burger. He knows what it comes. DeMar DeRozan knows the Big C burger comes with. What's all this exotic meat? He knows it comes with exotic meats. He knows he wants to get the Big C burger. And that's why he's an all-star player. When I think about it, you think about how he was traded away from the only city in Canada that has NBA basketball. Because Vancouver let go of the Grizzlies, they went down to Memphis. But when you watch Kawhi Leonard, when he was back in the day with the Raptors, helped him win that title and played for the struggling Spurs, a team that endured criticism about how his lack of three-point shooting prevented him from landing in the superstar tier. You don't have to shoot threes to be a superstar. You just got to make your baskets. He's only 32 years old, has a bright future ahead of him, all-friend Levin War, but when you think about it, he's having his best season right now playing for the Chicago Bulls and one of the league's best records. Isn't that something? His fifth All-Star appearance might be his sweetest, playing in the backdrop of Michael Jordan, if that makes sense to him. So the NBA's 75th ceremony and Usher, the NBA's anniversary team, was named before the season began, with 76 players actually making the queue and making that cut because they had a tie vote. But the members will be honored during a ceremony at halftime of Sunday's All-Star game that's going to be highlighted by celebrities. Isn't that something? There's more celebrities at the NBA All-Star game than there are African-American coaches in the NFL Black History Month. You have Usher, you have Spike Lee, Do the Right Thing, Tiffany Haddish, and Anthony Anderson. They're going to narrate the retrospective of the last 75 years of NBA basketball, concluding with the performance by, think about this, shining star of the legendary group Earth, Wind, and Fire. Do You Mind? I remember one of my favorite songs, Do You Mind? Come on, give me some praise, y'all. If I touch, if I kiss, if I held you tight. Come on, guys. In the morning light. Oh! Do you, come on, okay, I'm messing up that song. Enough already! Don't you ever that Earth, Wind, and Fire come out of your mouth. And fire. Do you mind? If I touched, if I kissed, if I held you tight. Come on, y'all. In the morning light. Hey! Okay, I can't do it like them. I can't. Enough already! I don't mean to blasphemy Earth, Wind, and Fire, but I sang that song so many times growing up. But just to see how many legends show up, I think Ja and LaMelo Ball, the 7 first-time All-Stars this year, Seems like a lot. But you think about the players. I think about point guard John Morant. Amazing player. Imagine when he does what Jordan did after he got into the league for a while playing against the bad boys. He hit the weight room. Imagine how good John Morant will be when he hits the weight room. Steph Curry hit the weight room. Kobe Bryant hit the weight room, got better. Look at Shaquille O'Neal, how he hit the weight room and became a much better player. A lot of guys hit the weight room, just a little bit more meat on his bones, just to be unstoppable. So you're going to have Team Durant on Sunday, and Morant led the Memphis Grizzlies to the number 3 seed in the Western Conference. While, they're a good team. I don't think they're going to get out of that Western Conference number 1. I don't even think they'll get to the finals, but they're good. And then you have Ball. He's 6'7". He's amazing. Coming out of California. He and his 3 brothers, I think, played on the same team out of Southern California. That good old boy is doing his thing, averaging 20 points and 7 assists on 37% shooting from 3. I remember seeing him in high school, how they came up to Northern California and won a state championship. Just a very talented family. Really do appreciate seeing how they play. And then there's a player that, his name is Jalen Green. I saw this young kid play in high school, and he played on the same high school floor that Clifton Pondexter played on back in the day. Also, when you look at the Brooke and Robin Lopez, they played on the same floor at San Joaquin Memorial High School in Fresno, California. And now this kid, Jalen Green, he's amazing. It's 2022 right now, and here's a player that's going to have a lot more to show about how good he is in the upcoming years in the NBA basketball. I think there's going to be a lot that people will say about him, how they will find that this guy is ultra talented, and he came out of the same high school that had a lot of good players in beautiful Fresno, California. So just waiting to see how these players grow, and they grow into their strength and their ability to get bigger and stronger and faster. I think Jalen Green's going to be a star, and everybody has their own opinion about what a star is, but it's just amazing how so many great players have come out of that one high school in Central California in the Fresno area, and doing this thing right now as a rookie for the Houston Rockets. Knows that he's been a pretty amazing player. I just like seeing how these players put on muscle and go from being very thin frame to putting on that build that you had the way Jordan did. He was a skinny guy coming out of North Carolina. By the time Michael Jordan had won his 6th NBA championship, he had a lot of muscle on him, like Karl Malone when he came out of Louisiana Tech. He was a tall, skinny guy, but then by the time he left the Utah Jazz and played with the Lakers, he looked like an NFL tight end, our big linebacker, put on a lot of size. And so when you think about the rising stars, I think there's one guy that I would like to see. It's none of my business. People do what they want. But 2 years ago, people talked about with the Zion Williamson that came out of Duke, and Ja Morant went combined 0 for 4 on dunk attempts. And it's amazing how, because of injury, Zion Williamson hasn't been what he can be. There are people that say he doesn't take it serious, he doesn't eat healthy, he doesn't exercise, whatever it is. If he were to just take a step back, and who am I to tell a guy he got $100 million? But if you look at some of the marquee players that were not as ballyhooed as he is, or he was coming out of Duke, and just get around some people that really care about you. Screw the media and people like that talk bad about you. I just hope that he finds out what mentoring can do for him, because he has a lot of potential if he just takes the game more serious. But it's all fair and love and war. I really look forward to this, but I do love the 3-point shooting contest. That's always been something that I like, as well as the dunk contest. Never want to see a player dunk too crazy, because I remember you don't want to see players get hurt. You just don't want to see guys jumping over cars and maybe risking an injury that's unnecessary. All's fair in love and war. But at the same time, there's so much greatness in NBA athletes and being able to see guys that can do their thing. I really hope that we have a great showing. I know it's about entertainment purposes. It's not like the NFL, you could call the NFL All-Star game or Pro Bowl game. It's not the same. But I just want to see some good things. There's also some talk about, and maybe I'd love to see more, NBA and ex-HBCU Classic. If you think about it, I want to see, I really don't watch as much college basketball, as I used to as a younger man. But it's an entirely different game than the NBA, which I find is difficult to sit through at times, because you really don't know who's playing for who now. Players are in and out of their universities. You don't get the chance to build up like back in the day when you had the UCLA and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, or Lou Alcindor at that time, running around the country having an 88-game win streak. It was something to watch because players were there for more than a year or two. But it's all fair in love and war. I really look forward to what they have is Morgan State and Howard designated as the first ever NBA time versus the HBCU Classic as part of the All-Star Weekend. It's really good to see that more and more people are getting involved in that. So whether you think about the NBA, whether you love it or not, I think the NBA has increased its efforts to provide support and recognition for the black community as giving historically black universities this kind of exposure during a prominent weekend for the league is another step in the right direction. The NBA and AT&T will also donate $200,000 to each school's athletic department, while both teams will meet with various executives in the NBA and WNBA players. So I love what they're doing with the NBA. They're creating more exposure for the HBCUs. They're doing everything possible to try to keep this game exciting. I think it's an exciting game, and I want to give it some praise. Give the All-Star game out of Cleveland. Give it some praise. I'm going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When I come back, I'm going to talk some more things about sports and how it impacts everybody. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, we're back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 23 podcast applications all over the universe. And on 4 TV applications, really do appreciate that. So February 20th, 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the NBA All-Star Game. King LeBron versus King Durant. It's amazing. It's a shame Durant's not able to play in the game of all fair and love and war. But I want to touch on something that I think it goes hand in hand with what's going on in the NBA All-Star Game. I look at how the NBA has given, in my opinion, they've gotten it right more with dealing with diversity. I mean, who's going to say who should have a job? Just give people a chance to compete, just like the Olympics. You want people to line up at the starting line and have a chance to run the race and have a chance to compete. So the NFL football universe, Roger Goodell, he met with civil rights leaders and several team owners to discuss diversity. And I appreciate the effort that Goodell is making. He works for all of the 32 NFL owners. It's not like he can go in there and tell them what to do and how to do things and how to do the Rooney Rule or how to just be fair in their hiring decisions. We know it's a good old boy network. That's what the NFL is. So when you look at the NFL, and he met with many owners and talked about hiring, I applaud his effort, but what else can he do? This was just Thursday. And met with civil rights leaders who urged the league to make drastic changes in his hiring practices to improve diversity in leadership positions. We still don't have a Voting Rights Act passed through Congress. That's a lot bigger than the NFL. Black men helped Joe Biden get elected. He doesn't use executive order. What's he waiting on? So Goodell was joined on the video call by Pittsburgh Steelers president Art Rooney II, and Atlanta Falcons owner and chairman Arthur Blank, Arizona Cardinals owner Michael Bidwell, and Baltimore Ravens executive vice president Ozzie Newsome, and then Houston, Texas limited partner Javier Loya, and other NFL partners. And their hope is it just more talk? Is it really just more talk? The National Urban League president and CEO, his name is Mark H. Morrell, told the group that the NFL's focus on racial equity and social justice recently has not produced the results that we thought it would have to improve the hiring process. But again, we still don't have a Voting Rights Act passed by President Biden. What about executive order? I mean, things can be done. People love you when they want your vote. Or people love you when you think it's going to make you look good by saying, hey, I feel your pain. Remember Bill Clinton used to say that? I feel your pain. He felt the pain, all right. But the crime bill, right? He felt the pain. But there were 9 head coaches. There were openings this offseason. And 2 went to men of color. Mike McDaniel, who is biracial. And then Lovie Smith, who is also a black man, and replaced David Culley, who is also a black man. So that brought the total of minority head coaches to 5, and 3 were black men. I told you there's more entertainers performing at the 75th NBA All-Star game than there are black head coaches in the NFL. A league that's dominated by black men, 75%. NBA is about 80% African Americans are black men. So McDaniel replaced Brian Flores, who was named the league. Think about this. And 3 other teams, the Dolphins, the Broncos, and the Giants, in a class action lawsuit earlier this month, alleging unfair hiring practices, and the NFL, they know, is unfair. But what is fair? All's fair in love and war. So the NFL has produced an astonishing pool of black coaching talent that owners, think about it, routinely have ignored. Like frat brothers hiring frat brothers. Cronyism, nepotism, friends hiring friends, coaches hiring their kids to give them jobs. But the NFL says they're committed to working with the owners and the league to bring the spirit to inspire change in the head coaching rosters. Is it too much to ask that the representation on the field should equal the representation in coaching? Either head coaching or assistant coaches should reflect the league, the players, the makeup of the players. If the league's 75% black, why not have 75% of the coaches opportunity to be black men also? Why not? The same owners who are Caucasian, except for Shad Khan out of Jacksonville, and there's an owner in Buffalo. She's a partnership for the Buffalo Bills. People say the Green Bay Packers are owned by the community, but that's not true. The community doesn't write the checks. They have people in charge there too. But when you think about it, I appreciate people making an effort. There's nothing perfect in life. You can only try to make things better in relationships and in people and business. But the civil rights leaders are challenged that the league to set aside measurable goals for recruiting and hiring diverse candidates. They also call for the creation of an advisory commission that would make recommendations to the NFL and establish guidelines. If the same owners that refuse to hire black men were have the same attitude for black athletes, there would be 75% white football players in the NFL. There's not. Why aren't 75% of the athletes that play NFL football white men? They look more like the owners, don't they? You would think the owners would be more comfortable, wouldn't they? So why don't they do the same thing when it comes to coaches? You can't tell me the best players can't make the best coaches. They're inside of the mind of what happens on the field. The best players and best coaches, they have a symbiotic relationships. They've been in that environment. So why not say if you're going to have 90% white coaches, you're going to have 90% white players? They won't do that because they're always looking for a chance to improve the product. You can't guarantee anyone's going to beat out another person. At playing athletics myself in times, I saw good players, black and white. But I will say the most dominant athletes have been black that I've seen over the years in my life of playing sports, covering sports, and watching sports. Maybe because people feel they have a better opportunity. Not necessarily true. I think oftentimes people pour into them more. When you play sports, a lot of black men can attest to this. People love you when you're in high school or college playing sports. They say, man, I love you like you're my own son. And then if you stop playing, then that's when they turn their back on you and walk away from you. I've seen that personally. Men that invite you to their house, let you eat their food, have you come over and have, overnight sleepouts with the team. When you don't play sports, they don't even say hi sometimes. I think a lot of black men haven't seen that yet, but some of them will. You have to live and learn. You got to go through it. So I hope overall that no matter what happens with this league, that we just keep talking about how to overcome. Whether it's racism or sexism, you'd be a fool to deny that sexism exists in the United States of America. You'd also be a fool to deny that racism exists in the United States. Just want to make it better. And oftentimes I was talking to a black woman who owns her own company out of New York, and she was talking about some of the same people, some of the same situations in her ascension into the business. Oftentimes, people let you in based on who you know. Is cronyism or nepotism? But a lot of our people who own these teams, they don't interact with the main population. They're in a different economic stratosphere. so you may never know them. And I was listening to Dr. Boyce Watkins talk, and he talked about some of the African-American entertainers or athletes. People put so much onus on them to create jobs and opportunity and say, well, people aren't doing enough with their money. But in the, pejoratively speaking, in the white community, they don't hold white athletes to that same standard to say, oh, Luka Doncic is not doing enough for his native country. Oh, Larry Bird didn't do enough for the people in French Lake, Louisiana. They didn't do that. But you look at what Magic Johnson's done with his creating his enterprises out in Los Angeles in business, whether it's Starbucks or movie chains. Oftentimes people say you got to do more. Or Michael Jordan with his money, with the Nike, all that jazz. People don't hold Tom Brady. Is Tom Brady making enough jobs available for white kids? Is Aaron Rodgers doing enough to make sure that white kids have work? Is Mike Trout doing enough to make sure that white kids have work? They don't hold white men to that same type of hierarchy. It takes everybody to work together and try to do what's right. That's just my opinion. And I'm going to say, give my opinion some praise. Give it praise, praise, praise. We all got to get along. And I think we all do. It's just sometimes things are polarized when you watch too much television. I want to pay homage to some Black history. This is Black History Month. And there's something going on in Northern California on Friday, February 25th, between 2 and 3:30 p.m. It's called Salute and Honor. It's called Salute with Honor and Respect. And it's paying homage to military men that serve this country, African Americans. Want to give that some praise also. That's coming up. I'll talk about it more next week. But it's going to be at the Pinnell Community Center in Sacramento, California. And they have World War II and Korea and Vietnam Gulf War. They're doing so much to honor Black military men and women who serve this country. Because we still, to this day, unless it happened while I'm on the air, do not have a Voting Rights Act signed into law. There's still, to this day, states that are doing their own gerrymandering to change the districts of where people can vote. Because all we care about is touchdown, home run, three-point play. Oh, man, Willie, he's going all the way. But there's so many more things that people can do to create liberty and justice for all. I love talking about Black history and how it affects everybody. And you think, why is Black History Month in February for the mainstream? Because Black History Month is every day I look in the mirror. It's always Black History Month. All life came from the African continent. And for people that don't tell that story, shame on them. We talk so much about roots and history, where people come from. Dr. Leakey and Gregory Mendel, they opine that all life came from Africa. Every single one. The dark skin is dominant, light skin is recessive. The dark skin, or they call it the dark gene, is dominant, the light gene is recessive. While the dark gene can reproduce the recessive gene cannot reproduce the dominant gene. Dr. Leakey was looking for the origin of man, went to Europe, didn't find it. Traced the origin of man back to Africa. If everybody knew that, we could end this racism crap. We're just different shades of skin melanin. I know Jane Goodall talked a lot about why racism exists. We know it's about power and perception and just a lot of sick things that go on in people's mind. But at the same day, we're all God's children. But every February, the United States honors the contributions and sacrifices of African Americans, Black Americans who have helped shape the nation. And Black History Month celebrates the rich cultural heritage, triumphs, and adversities that are indelible, embedded in our country's history. And so this year's theme is focused on Black health and Black wellness, pays homage to medical scholars and healthcare providers. And the theme is especially timely as we deal with the third year of COVID-19, the pandemic, and how it's affected many people. But there is no American history without African American history, because all life came, if you believe in science, and I know some people don't, all life came from Africa. From the palest person on the planet to the darkest person on the planet, it all comes from the same dominant gene. The dominant gene can reproduce recessive and dominant traits. If we know that, then we'll stop hating the person in the mirror. Because we're all one race, the human race. And I think you should say what I say, give that some praise. Give it praise, praise, praise. At some point in time, I think we'll overcome that. But there is something about humanity that everybody wants to be treated fair. We all want to be. There's an anti-racist research and policy center at American University in Washington, D.C. called the Black Experience, and it's embedded in everything we think of as American history. That's why I keep telling people, Google the 1619 Project. Think about it. Critics have opined that Black history should be taught and celebrated year-round, not just during 1 month, because there would be no white person on the planet without Black people. That's scientifically proven. Even if you're dumb, you can Google it. It was Carter G. Woodson, the father of Black history, who first set out in 1926 to designate a time to promote and educate people about Black history and culture. It's out there for everyone to realize. The more we realize that we have more in common than we don't, I think people will start realizing we all just want the same, liberty and justice for all. You can have liberty and justice for all too. Every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide. You can follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe. Of course, people who love sports and me. Now, back in the day, there's a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. And he would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, you rumble, young man, rumble. With all you've got to use, how can you lose? Ali would say, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat because all these big cheeseburgers make me land on my feet. That's why I'm always rumbling. And even on top of that, the Big C coffee comes in one size, extra large. That makes me have to go dance even more on my feet. I'm not a comedian, but I tried. My beautiful mother always says there's never, ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. If you know any man, woman, or child going through that garbage, pick up the phone and ask for help, because no man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. And as I always tell you, on every Big C Sports show, I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day.